right now, currently, a lot of Transformers fans are having the discussion once again when it comes down to the original Megatron and whether or not he could still have his original gun mode. And it's getting people up in arms quite a bit. And I did a video a while back about this, talking about the merits of Megatron in his gun mode, and yet still also acknowledging that, yes, some modern alternate modes are serviceable, but the biggest issue when it comes down to it is that, like, going back to that original stuff when it comes down to Studio Series 86. And I think that's why people are as they are. So let's get into this discussion, shall we? Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase a merch. Links are in the description below. So right now, currently, there's a lot of Transformers news I've been talking about on my live streams. And, typically I would normally do like a regular news video where I cover all of that. And a lot of you guys tune in to my Transformers retrospectives and discussion videos. And yes, I am currently working on my next retrospective. It is a big one. It is episode 100. It is a very major character. And when I'm ready to let you guys know who that's going to be, you'll find out, because especially hoping that something pans out for something special for it. And if that does happen, I'll be announcing it very, very shortly. That being said, I did do a video, like I said before, about Megatron's alternate mode. And I said in that video, guns don't kill people, Megatron kills people. And I made a t-shirt on it and everything, and it's a very popular shirt. Just because it's just so cool. Like, having a toy gun, like back in the day, was just kind of cool. You get like cap guns, and they still sell realistic looking, but yes, with some neon colors, Nerf guns, right? That shoot, whatever. And yes, some of them do have a more realistic look to them, but the barrels are orange, or they might have a blue stripe on it because in certain laws. And they do still sell them. But some countries can't sell it, and some states don't even let that to happen. That's just, it is what it is. They get a little stricter with it. So it's understandable that he may not be able to have, we may not be able to have this once again. Even if you can go to a convention and they sell it there and you can buy the original toy and enjoy it and what have you. I love the original Megatron toy. And I know that some people look at it and go, oh, it's so weird that like the leader of the Decepticons turns into a gun, and they can't fathom the idea of the merits behind the original Megatron toy, The original Megatron toy was different. Back in the day, it was very, very different, because you didn't see a robot turn into a toy gun, and Soundwave turned into a cassette player, and Reflector turned into a camera, and yet also we had the Autobots turn into cars, many of the Decepticons turned into jets, and the case is history. But while that's being said, Megatron himself did go through a change back in 1986. And he did have a second gun mode. Well, yes, this is the original G1 Galvatron. But they changed the barrel to be a little bit more legal, right? Having the orange barrel or the bright barrel here instead of black as he was originally conceived, because he did have that. This is the gun mode, and it does have that, of course, cannon mode. Everyone forgets that original G1 Galvatron had that, and they eventually did reissue the toy in purple. But, years later now, we're getting updates to the original toys, and we're getting some new versions of the character. Megatron has been, I would kind of look at the car robots Megatron as Gigatron, like it's a different character. Armada Megatron turned into a tank. Generation 2 Megatron turned into a tank, and that tank was awesome. It had that big purple cannon on his shoulder. It's got that big tank for a front. It just looks so cool, But it's like that big bright neon green and purple that not everybody particularly cares for. So they did do a helicopter for animated. Eventually they decided to settle for a tank. And the Combiner Wars figure was a tank. They decided to do a, Siege as a Cybertronian tank, and then they retooled it into the Earthrise mold, which has here a tank mode as well, which this looks very, very accurate. Granted, this is customized, but when you look at it, you can see the tank treads on the sides. You can see the tank, it's like there on the back. And same thing here with the tank, because that's the front of the tank. It's just kind of the way that they decided to do it. And so his transformation is kind of, in a way, compromised from what the original robot mode was. But when you look at Megatron, you got to understand why they called him Megatron. Bob Budiansky got this toy in his hand, and he just thought, he's the leader of the bad guys. He turns into a gun. Like a Megaton blaster. Megatron. Okay, we're going somewhere. So we would never have Megatron if we did not have the original Generation 1 Megatron. So whenever I hear the argument, he should have never been a gun, then you would not have had Megatron. That's just, let's call a spade, that it is what it is. That is the truth. You would not have Megatron if you did not have the original Generation 1 Megatron. So, why does this discussion come up? Well, Studio Series. Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime is not a retool of the Earthrise Optimus Prime. It is a brand new mold, and it brings a sense of accuracy. It is super accurate, super posable, has so many accessories. They have delivered a promise that previous Studio Series figures with the live action films have done, with Gamer Edition have done, with Studio Series 86 has done. Gone out of their way to try to make the figures to be a little more closer to the animation model, or closer to what they appeared like on screen, including a backdrop so that you can have this studio set. That's why it's called Studio Series, to have your figure like posing however you want them to pose in whatever battle scene that you have them in. That's kind of the idea behind Studio Series. So that extra bit of accuracy is the reason why we don't have as many like 5mm posts on the figures that we have on Studio Series as we do on, let's say, like Legacy and throughout the War for Cybertron trilogy, right? So instead, the figures are trying to be closer to what they look like on screen. The problem is, with Megatron, is that you cannot go back to having that original Generation 1 gun mode. So you can't deliver on that promise. So we have to come up with a compromise. Now, I am not opposed to compromises. Okay? I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to new versions of Megatron having a different alternate mode. Heck, I like Transformers Animated's take, where he's a helicopter. In fact, a Generation 1, sketch here that was done by Don Figueroa was here with a helicopter mode. How cool is that, right? Like, that it's just so cool to have that like helicopter mode. And then Animated did it that way too. So, and then when Heavy Metal War, the episode that closed out season 1 in the original cartoon, he was not only supposed to gain all the extra powers of the Decepticons, but he also gained a jet mode. So it would have been kind of cool for Megatron to, let's say, have a jet mode. So I'm not opposed to that either. At the same time, a tank is a gun on wheels, right? You could say that, right? And after watching the Fast movies and seeing that tank in action, I believe it was Fast 7 that the tank was in. I'm not opposed to a tank mode, but my main issue and gripe with it really boils down to is, what does the robot mode look like? How accurate can both front and back can you make the Generation 1 Megatron look like the original Megatron as much as you possibly can and still have a serviceable alternate mode? Well, the question's been asked, what is he going to be? And Evan, who is on the Hasbro team, has said, yeah, he's going to be a tank. So we're going to have to get past the fact that they're just not going to deliver for us a original gun mode, even if it's like done differently. I understand the toy gun laws. Like, I get it. Like, I wish that it could be more than, let's say, like this neon colored thing. You know, I want it to be the original gun mode. I would love it to be. You know, it's just, I love the original Megatron. It's just something very, very cool about it. But how can we get that screen accuracy? Well, first and foremost, like I said, the robot mode has to be accurate. They have to go all out in making that gun mode, that robot mode, like, perfect. So that we get the cannon on his back, we get the bits on his back, we get, like, the things that this failed to do. The Earthrise mold, the Siege mold, they failed to deliver, and as accurate as possible, a G1 Megatron, you know, that works, especially now that Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime is taller than this mold. So it's not going to be the same one. We know this. We know that they're going to do Studio Series 86 Megatron. He's going to be a tank, but they've got to do something to hide the treads. They have to hide the tank, and they have to deliver a robot that looks like Megatron. Can they do it? Sure, but they're going to have to go extra. And he's going to be a leader class figure, so we wonder whether or not the budget's going to go into it to deliver us a Megatron that we're going to be happy about. If he comes with a gun accessory, the original G1 Megatron in gun mode accessory that could fit in Studio Series 86 Optimus and Starscream's hands, if we have that with Megatron, like, he comes with it. Comes with the blast effects, comes with the, you know, because the whole thing is that he blasts, you know, Brawn right in the chest, you know? Like, that's kind of like the whole idea behind Megatron in gun mode, is that that's what ends up killing an Autobot. The other thing is that he needs the laser sword, and he needs the gun that he finds on the battlefield that ends up killing Optimus Prime. Like, we need to have those accessories present in the box. And so, can we get something that is serviceable for a tank mode, have it work in leader class, have all those accessories? That's my worry. You know, we'll end up getting this Megatron figure, and, you know, I'm okay with the compromise. I'm okay with the tank mode if it works in robot mode. And I have a feeling that we might be a little bit disappointed. I'm hoping that that's not the case. That's my real worry. My other concern is not so much the Generation 1 fans who really clamor for the gun mode, but the lack of sympathy for those who hate Generation 1 fans, in addition to hating G1, and really want to see G1 fans all up in arms because not only did they not deliver the gun mode, but they also delivered a poor robot mode. And I think that's really, like, the thing that we have to, like, take a step back and just ask ourselves, like, is it okay to get a good Megatron in robot mode with a tank mode with the accessories to kind of, like, reenact the scenes that we saw in the original movie? Because the other thing is that, you know, this Megatron can't be held by a G1 Starscream, but this robot here, you know, if we flip it up in the air and just have the gun accessory that kind of goes into place, yes, it's not transforming, but you can kind of reenact it in a way. Like, those are things that you have to take into consideration at the end of the day. Can they do it? Can they really deliver a Megatron that will make fans happy? They can live with the compromise, and we'd still have, like, a good Studio Series 86 Megatron. Again, I don't know. I don't know. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Of course, are you skeptical that they can actually deliver a good Megatron that's in scale with Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime? Or do you think that they're going to fail at this one? Like, do you think they're going to be successful, or are they going to fail? You know, because we have to come to terms with this, right? I also want to know, should they come up with in scale with all these legacy figures, a really good G2 Megatron? You know, the purple one and the green one. I'd love to see both, personally. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Stay tuned for my episode 100 of Transformers Retrospectives and Discussions. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.